Two mother-in-laws from hell. I married my husband in 2021, gaining his mother-in-law, and her partner, P, as mothers-in-law. During that time period, they consistently spoke about me behind my back to my husband's sister. He always had a close relationship with his mother after his dad left him during his childhood, and we spoke on changing both of our last names before we got married. Things got better around the time we got married, and my husband and I actually took their last name. Shortly after our marriage, I found out I was pregnant. We told mother-in-law and partner at 8 weeks. 2 days later, I had a miscarriage. It was earth-shattering for me, but the entire time in the hospital, mother-in-law texted my husband asking solely about the baby, not me. I didn't think much of it until later on when we found out we were pregnant again. This time I waited until I was 14 weeks pregnant, and the first thing mother-in-law said was, "I don't want you to get my hopes up like last time." My pregnancy went smoothly until 30 weeks, when I had severe preeclampsia and needed to be rushed to the hospital via ambulance to deliver the baby via C-section. Baby was sent to the newborn intensive care unit, where she remained for 10 weeks. After birth, I had complications and needed to go back in for surgery. It took 3 rounds of new blood and chest compressions to bring me back. And again, they only asked my husband about the well-being of our daughter, not me. In the newborn intensive care unit, mother-in-law and partner were emergency card holders, so they could go in just in case we needed someone to be there in an emergency. These privileges were shortly after violated, as they would show up knowing my husband and I weren't there. We lived 90 minutes away from the hospital and traveled to see our baby every single day. We brought this up with them, asking them to please tell us when they are visiting her, but they didn't seem to understand. During this time, we asked for help from all our family. Mother-in-law and partner did the bare minimum and then would come and talk to us about how much work it was for them and how they never want to hear from us that we need help again. We had asked for meals and help taking care of our dogs. Flash forward to now, baby is home. Mother-in-law and partner have come to visit, but their last visit they arrived at 8 p.m. after saying they were coming to make dinner for us and take over so I could sleep. I had sent them a text earlier in the day asking what time will they arrive and letting them know that I only slept for 3 hours that day and was going on my 3rd day of almost no sleep. When they arrived, they made it clear that they were unhappy with how little we greeted them. I had gone to bed before dinner because I was exhausted. I guess it was incredibly disrespectful of me to not greet them as true host. Because of this, I was no longer interested in having them over if they expected any hosting. I eventually created my first boundary with mother-in-law one night when she asked to come over, letting her know that the time didn't work for me, and I asked if we could plan a different day. This sent them over the edge. I saw texts sent from partner to sister-in-law that I was an a-hole, a user, and didn't deserve to have the family name. Partner then proceeded to delete my husband and myself off of Facebook. Mother-in-law has the same viewpoint as partner, but since then asked when our daughter can see her Grammys and also wondering when she can come over next. It has been 2 months since they have seen our little girl, who has only been home for that long. My husband is not responding to mother-in-law at all and states that the only way he will continue a relationship with her is if she gets a divorce. But mother-in-law is clueless on the matter of saying she's losing her children. Mother-in-law has called the police to our house for a wellness check but hasn't reached out to me once. I was never close with my own family and have no second thoughts on cutting these Grammys completely as well. Am I the asshole for not rescheduling daughter's surgery? I am a father with primary custody of a 13-year-old daughter. She has had terrible trouble with ear infections. The doctor recommended a tonsillectomy. It is not an emergency, but it will improve her health as she gets older. My wife and I agreed to let our daughter decide. She is scared, but ultimately decided she wanted it. I called the hospital and they said they are almost at max capacity, but they gave me 2 dates. The first one was on day she has an orthopedic appointment, and the second is 8 days later. We picked the second one. After I hung up, I remembered it was her mother's birthday. Our daughter said it was fine. She would be with her the day before anyway and could celebrate then, but her mother had a fit. She said I need to move it because if something went wrong, it would be a bad memory on her birthday. If I don't move it, she will not pay her share because she won't agree to it on that day. She said since it's just an elective surgery, she doesn't have to agree anymore if it's on the day she doesn't want. I'm leaving that day as our daughter wants the extra week to prepare herself and she is also fine with the surgery on that day. So, am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for dressing slutty around my male roommate even though he has a girlfriend? I, 23 female, and my roommate, who we will call David, 25 male, have been living together for a year. We didn't know each other when we moved in, but we were introduced by a mutual friend and he has been the best roommate I've ever had, and we have also become good friends. A couple months ago, David started dating a girl, let's call her Brianna, and bringing her around our place. Mostly they hang out in David's room, but I've always been friendly with Brianna when she was over, though I've always felt that she was a little icky towards me. A few weeks ago, she pulled me aside while David was outside and asked me if I could be more chill. I was a little taken aback and told her I didn't know what she meant. She told me that I was being a pick-me by dressing slutty around David, which is honestly kind of fair. I wear a lot of crop tops that are on the more revealing side and I like to do my makeup daily. She also said that she thought it was disrespectful that I cook for him sometimes because he's not my man. I told her that I had no intention of trying to steal her man or of inserting myself into their relationship. I just dress the way I like to dress and I like cooking for my friends. I thought that was the end of it. But last night we had a small party at our place and I saw Brianna and 2 of her friends I hadn't met before talking while they looked at me. I didn't hear the full context, but I distinctly heard one of them say, "I see what you mean," in a kind of sneering tone as I passed by, and it almost sounded like she wanted me to hear it. Since then, I've been feeling really self-conscious and I'm worried that maybe I should really change the way I dress. Am I the asshole? Declined wedding dress shopping with me. I'm getting married in May next year and I've started to look for my wedding dress. Today, I went with my mom to the first wedding salon to start looking for a dress, and I decided I didn't want to say yes to the dress without my mother-in-law there. Now, I will preface this with the fact that her and I do not have a good relationship, and she has caused a number of issues in the past. So even though we don't have a good relationship, I still thought it was important to invite her to go shopping with us, as it's a respectful thing to do in my opinion. So when I saw her next, I told her I would like her to come shopping with me and my mom to look for my wedding dress. And she said, "Oh, no, honey, don't you know the traditions? Besides that, I don't have time to make you two company. I would rather spend time with my boy," and said something about how it's traditional for the mother of the groom not to see the wedding dress until the day of wedding. Is it actually a thing? I was really hurt because I felt like I was the bigger person by asking her to overcome issues from past. She treated me condescendingly and talked to me like I was just a burden. Am I overreacting?